All right, so today we're going to be talking about using some new features in the part tool or in the part file. So far, we've been using the extruded boss base and the extruded cut. All right, so today we're going to talk about revolved bosses. Okay, at the same time, if there's a revolved boss, that also means that there is a revolved cut. All right, right now this is all grayed out, most of this, because we haven't really had any sketches or anything to work with. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the right plane. Okay, I'm going to left click, go up to sketch or create a sketch, and it kind of centers my drawing for me. I'm looking at it normal to the plane. Okay. I'm going to create a simple sketch using the corner rectangle tool. And I'm going to start in line with the origin. Come out like that. And of course, I always do this. I forget to take a look at my units. So I'm going to change this to IPS. As it does that, it's going to kick me out of Sketch, but that's okay because I know where I'm sketching. So I click into Sketch and edit Sketch again. Okay, that brings me right back, but at least now I know that I'm in inch pound seconds. And I'm going to do a couple of things here. Easiest one is I'm going to use the drop down from the line tool to create a center line. And I'm going to go from the origin. Doesn't matter which way I go. I'll go down. Hit escape. And then I'm going to use my smart dimension tool to pull off a dimension of the entire bottom, which I will say is 1 inch. And then I'll dimension from the side wall to the center line and call that 50. Right? At the same time, I can also say 1 inch divided by 2. And that will also center it. So you can throw in quick little formulas if you want into that line item. Okay, make this, I don't know, 3 inches. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a couple more rectangles on the inside. Like so. Okay, basically I'm just trying to make like an eye shape. Could I have drawn it using the line tool and just gone around? Absolutely, but I want to do things a little bit differently today. Okay, so start to use my smart dimension tool to measure the gap inside. That gap inside I will say is 0.3. And then from inside to outside will be 0.70 divided by 2, right, which is 0.35, and that centers that. Okay, now that I've got that geometry pretty much set, I'm going to go up to the Trim Entities tool, and I'm going to just left click and hold that left mouse button down and drag right across and up to kind of clean up that geometry. I'm going to do the same thing here. Right? Make sure that it's set to power trim. That's where you want it to be, power trim. Okay, so now that I have my profile, I'm not going to worry too much about the height of these things. I just wanted a general profile. I'm going to exit the sketch. Okay, now if you actually take a close look at our screen, our workspace, all right, at least on my screen, I've got a green check here. I also have a green check here. But look at the label. Okay, my label says trim. So it doesn't know that I'm done trimming. That's why there's a check here and a check in my workspace. So if I'm really done with my sketch, I can just as easily exit the sketch and get out of everything. Or if you want to go through the proper channels, you can walk it down and say, yes, I'm done with trim. Yes, I'm done with sketch. Okay, now that I got my exit sketch icon. Okay. So I'm going to orbit this just a teeny tiny bit. I'm going to left click on sketch 1. That way my sketch highlights. Okay? With my sketch being highlighted, I'm going to select Revolve Boss Base. Okay. Now, I don't see anything happening right now. Okay, but in the properties of my Revolve tool, I have an axis of revolution. Right now, it's thinking on its own that this center line is the axis of revolution. Okay, it's not. Okay, so I'm going to left click inside here, hit the delete key. Try it again, left click, delete key. And I'm going to change my axis of revolution. This is still highlighted in blue. I'm going to go in here and choose this bottom line. And once I do that, it uses that line as the axis of revolution. Right? And then I can use my tools here to maybe walk it back to 207 degrees or 300 degrees, whatever it has to be, all right, to make your complete revolution. Type in 360, hit the green check, and I've created a revolved part. Okay, a little bit easier. Okay, so with that part being revolved, you can now add fillets or chamfers. All right, what I'll do is I'll add chamfers on the small bosses on the sides here, and then I'll add fillets around these edges. Okay, very easy to do under the Features tab. Over in this section, I have fillet and chamfer options. Okay, so to use the fillet option, click on fillet. Again, you've got different types of fillets that it's going to automatically generate, okay, based on your selection. Items to fillet, so you have to make selections, okay. I'm going to pick on this edge. Okay, with full preview checked on, it shows me a preview of what that fillet will look like. Okay, I'm going to delete this for 1 second. I'm going to left click on edge 1 and hit delete. I can select this edge and this edge separately. However, if I select the face, it knows to select both ends. Okay, so that's another way to do this. I'm going to select that face and this face, and it recognizes both edges. Okay, at that point, I can go into my fillet parameters, make it 0.25. That's a little too big. 0.125. That's a little better. Hit the green check and finish my fillet. Okay, so now I've got those rounded edges. In the same manner, drop down from your Features tab and use chamfer. Okay, again, different ways to create chamfers, but basically, items to chamfer. What am I selecting? I'm going to select this rounded edge. Okay, it looks a little bit too big to me. Select that edge as well. So now I know it's too big. Why do I know it's too big? Because the preview disappeared. Okay, so I'm going to go in here to my chamfer callout, 0.10. Oh, there I did the face. Sorry. Edge. There we go. Okay, change my chamfer. And you've got a chamfer now. Okay, so using fillets and chamfers, I think, is easiest and best accomplished on your part model. Okay, there is an option if you go into Sketch. Okay, in Sketch, we do have the option to create fillets and chamfers. Sketch fillet, sketch chamfer. However, it's a little bit more difficult to change these items as a sketch. Okay? If you create them as features, it's very easy to go into the fillet feature and edit the feature. Okay? I can go in here and I can make changes. I can remove faces. I can add faces or add edges, remove edges. It's a lot easier to control your features as opposed to sketches. Okay? So if you have any rounds or chamfers or filleted edges, try to accomplish that using the feature tool. Okay? So we created this part using the Revolve Boss base. And now I'm going to do something similar, but using the Revolve cut. Okay? With the Revolve cut, how can we use that? So if we take a good look at some of our planes, I'm going to use the top plane, okay, to create this geometry. Or I could use the right plane. Actually, we can use the right plane. So using the right plane might be a little bit easier. I'm going to create a sketch. So left click on right plane. Whoops, make sure I get the little icon. There is my sketch icon. So now I'm ready to create a sketch on the right plane. Remember at this point that I'm not sketching, or it's not going to normal to. So if I want a normal to, I have to spacebar and then select either normal to or select on the appropriate face so that I get the look that I want or the view that I want. Okay, at this point I'm going to draw a little circle. Circle tool. I go up to the top edge. I see midpoint line. Okay, I'm going to click on that midpoint. I'm going to create a little circle and smart dimension it as 0.5. Okay, that's all the sketch that I need. Exit the sketch. Okay, my sketch is highlighted blue. That means it's selected. So now I'm going to use the Revolve Cut. Click on Revolve Cut. Axis of revolution. Okay, axis of revolution. Actually, I forgot to draw in. Okay, but with the axis of revolution, I may be able to go into my feature management tree and go into the original sketch. Okay. Will it give me that? No. Not a problem. Exiting out. Going back into sketch 2. Left click. Edit the sketch. Spacebar. Select my plane. This, you want to make sure, is a center line. Okay, do not draw a regular line. If you draw a regular line, it's going to get confused. Make sure that this is a center line. Exit the sketch. Left click to make sure that it's selected. Then Revolve Cut. Okay, there it automatically recognizes that center line as the axis of revolution. So what's happening? My profile, which is sitting up here, Here's my center axis, or my axis of revolution. It's taking that profile and drawing it around in a circle around the axis of revolution, right? So this is the revolved cut. I hit the green check, and it cuts out that profile. Okay, so 2 uses of the revolve tool, whether you're extruding or cutting. Okay, and that is using Revolve Boss Base and Revolved Cut.